Hello everybody, I am putting together a part 3 of the things that I have been learning on my weight loss journey. If you haven't watched part 1 and part 2, please go back and watch those. It explains that I gained 52 pounds from the, I think it's the last 2 years. Has it been 2 years since the pandemic started, or 1.5 years? I can't quite remember. But yeah, it's all kind of been a blur, but I've gained a total of 52 pounds total. And I decided this year to finally start taking control of my life, stop blaming the pandemic for everything, because let's be honest, we don't know how long this pandemic is going to go on. And if I continue just saying, oh, I'm doing this because I'm just, letting myself go because of the pandemic, I'm just doing this and that because of it. If I just continue to sink further down into that, there's no telling where I will be, and I don't want to know. So I just decided to take control of my life and get back to where I was weight-wise before the pandemic, because these extra pounds just represent excuses. It represents fear. It was just a trauma response to the things that I couldn't control around me. And I just had a wake-up call that I can't control outside things, but I can control inside things. So it was a little before the new year, starting December 26th, I started my weight loss journey. As of this morning, I have lost, I think, 8.2 pounds that I'm down, and I've been losing at about an average of 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds a week. And this is a part 3 to part 1 and 2 of things that I have learned on my weight loss journey so far. So stay tuned. One of the first things that has helped me is realizing how much extra stuff I put on my food. And all the whipped cream and the caramel drizzle, the extra tablespoon of sugar, all the syrup and all the butter, we don't realize that there's calories in those things. And I'm not saying go crazy, do something unhealthy, and just start becoming obsessed with it. But when you're trying to lose weight, you have to be mindful of those things. A tablespoon of butter is about an average of 100 calories. So you're adding heaps and gobs of butter into your mashed potatoes or other foods, and you could easily just have added an extra 300 calories to whatever it is you're eating from adding 3 tablespoons of butter to a baked potato or something. So just being mindful of that when you make yourself pancakes or waffles. For example, this morning, I wanted to make myself some waffles. So I made myself 2 blueberry waffles. And I was like, I want to add some syrup to it. But when I looked at the nutrition label, just 2 tablespoons of sugar is 110 calories. And you're not just gonna eat 2 tablespoons of sugar. I'm not about to be a fanatic and sit here and measure 2 tablespoons of sugar. I thought about it. There's blueberries in the waffles. Is it really worth it to me to add an extra, probably would have been 200, 330 calories to my food to get that syrup, that sweet taste? Before my journey, I would have not cared. But this time it's really important for me to stay focused in my weight loss journey. So this time I decided to forego the syrup. And honestly, once I got the waffles toasted just the way I like them, the waffles were fine. And I realized I really didn't need the syrup. And I'm not saying that I'm gonna do that all the time, but I know I'm having a really nice dinner today. So I just didn't wanna use up my calories for the day on syrup. So I decided to enjoy the blueberry waffles without the syrup. So be mindful, maybe you can get things like that already have some kind of sweetness to them, like blueberry waffles versus plain waffles. Although I think I've had plain waffles before without syrup and they were really good. But anyway, you'll start to be more mindful. Like when I made burgers for me and my kids the other day, I added seasonings to them and they didn't need the cheese on them. I started eating my burger and I was like, oh, I forgot the cheese. And then I was like, wait a minute, it tastes really good without the cheese. The slice of cheese is about, I think on average, maybe 70 to 100 calories. I'm not sure from brand to brand, but you'll start being mindful of just how much of all the condiments and extra stuff that you're putting on your food, and you'll start weighing whether or not it's worth it. When you make a healthy salad and then you add a gob of salad dressing, what is the actual serving size of that salad dressing? I know I love blue cheese. I had some wings last night and I wanted to just sop on blue cheese, but I had to be mindful of the serving size. I think it was like 2 tablespoons or 130 calories. So I used a lot less blue cheese than I normally do, but it was enough to cover all my wings. So just being mindful of all the extra stuff. You're getting coffee with caramel drizzle and whipped cream and, you know, adding butter to stuff, all the salad dressings, all that cheese on sandwiches and stuff. Do you really need all this extra stuff? And when you're tracking calories, be mindful to add all those things to your food journal. I had 2 tablespoons of ketchup, which is pretty low in calories. I had 2 tablespoons of ketchup. I had half a cup of syrup. I had 3 tablespoons of butter. Add all those things, every single thing, everything that you add to your food, to that food journal. Because some people, I know with me for a while, I've lost weight several times in my life, but I would lose weight and then I would get to a point where I would stop or I wasn't seeing progress at all. And then when I was honest with myself, it was all the extra fixins and add-ons and things and extras that I was adding to my food. So just be mindful of every single thing you add to your food. Weigh the pros and cons. Is it worth it to add these calories to my meal? Is it going to hurt me if I have half a cup of syrup? Is that going to, you know, knock me off track? Do I really need a cup full of salad dressing on my salad? Is it really worth it? And if you're honest with yourself, you'll either say no, like when I wanted to add the syrup to my waffles or the cheese to my burger, or you'll either say yes, like when I wanted the blue cheese with my wings, and you'll just have a lot less of it, or you'll find a more healthy alternative. Some apps that have helped me in my weight loss journey, I use 2 apps. MyFitnessPal is a great app for keeping track of the food you eat. You can type in whatever it is you're eating. Maybe you want to have 2 Eggo waffles like I did for breakfast. So you'll type in Eggo waffles, blueberry Eggo waffles, and it'll show you the calories for blueberry Eggo waffles. And you have to be careful and read these things because it'll give you a list of everything in the Eggo product line. So make sure you read the right thing that you're eating. So it'll say blueberry Eggo waffles, and it'll show you the calories for that and the serving size for that. I had 2 waffles, so the serving size was 2 waffles. So I clicked on that, added that to my journal. If I would have had syrup, I would have, and it even has a feature where you can sometimes scan the barcode on the product and it'll pop up. Sometimes you can't do it, but I would have added in the brand of syrup and it would have pulled it up. The serving size, I would have added how many serving sizes I would have had, and then it'll tally up the calories and add that to your food journal for that day. And you can separate it by breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. And it can also track your steps, and you can also type in your workouts. It's not really accurate because sometimes you might think you're doing an advanced workout, but it's a moderate workout or an intermediate workout. I wouldn't add my workouts to that particular app at all because it's just, you really never know what you're doing. So I use that one just to keep track of my food. The next app I use is called Happy Scale, and you can keep track of your weight loss, like if you weigh yourself daily. you can weigh yourself and log it in that journal each day, and it'll keep like a running average of your weight loss, because sometimes your weight loss will fluctuate, and it's just good to see that, oh, you're still averaging pretty good weekly. This is just you're retaining water this week or something. So I use that one for tracking my weight loss. The next tip is I used to do this all the time. Let's say you want a piece of cake. So then you jog 3 miles and you think, well, okay, I've jogged enough miles that is the serving size of the calories in a piece of cake, so I'm gonna have that piece of cake. Don't do that, because those fitness apps that track your workouts and tell you how many calories you burn, they are never accurate. And then when I have done this, and I have tried doing this several times, I have been that person, those are the days that I do not see results, because those little apps that tell you you've burned 100 calories, so then you have 100 calories in cookies or whatever. And then the next day you weigh yourself and there's no progress, or the next week you've gained yourself and there's no progress, or the scale stops, or you've gained weight. It's because those fitness trackers are not accurate. So for me personally, I don't track my workouts, because you can never count on the accuracy of the calories that it says you're burning. So I just focus on what have I eaten and those calories, and that's it. But I do not figure in how many calories I burned, because that's dangerous, and you don't want to say, oh, I burned enough calories to eat a Snickers bar, and then you eat the Snickers bar and now you're not seeing progress. Just don't do it. Just work out. Know you're burning calories, know you're getting healthy. That's all that matters. I personally don't track workouts to see how many calories that I burned. The next one is don't buy a ton of food. My recommendation is to shop weekly. If you buy a ton of food because you're on a health food journey, and then you buy a ton of vegetables, and you buy a ton of fruit, and you buy a ton of chicken breast, and you buy a ton of smoothies, then the next week you're like, oh, I'm so sick of smoothies. I'm so sick of chicken. I'm so sick of strawberries. But now you have all this stuff and you've wasted all this money, because that stuff's gonna go to waste, or it's just gonna sit in your refrigerator forever. So just shop weekly. Get what you need, because your tastes may change, and fruits and veggies go bad, and you just don't want things sitting and taking up space in your refrigerator, and then you have to eventually throw them away. So just shop weekly and get what you need weekly. Big mistake I used to make when I've lost weight before is I would just go out and buy tons of veggies and tons of everything. Don't do that. Just minimize your list, break it down weekly, realize that your tastes change, fruits and veggies go bad, and you don't want to just waste money buying tons of stuff that you're not going to use or that you're going to eventually get sick of. Adding on to that tip, make a weekly menu using the food that you have for that week. And you don't have to, get strategic and, pretty picky. I don't know the word I'm looking for, and plan out every single meal, because I don't plan out my breakfasts. I don't plan out my lunches. I mostly just plan out my dinners. And when I go grocery shopping for that week, I make a menu in the notes app in my phone. You can write it down, whatever, of dinner foods, what I can cook for dinner using what I have for that week. And this cuts down on me wasting everything that I have. Because how many times have you bought stuff at the grocery store, you put it in your refrigerator, and then you forget that you have it? I've done that several times. So this week I bought a bell pepper and I bought 2 onions. So I made sure to notate foods that I can use the bell pepper and onions with. I bought ground beef. So I bought like a big thing of it. So I made 2 meals where I can use that ground beef. One day I'm gonna make chicken Alfredo. So make a menu of at least your dinner, your biggest meals of the day, utilizing what you have. And this is another way to avoid your fruits and veggies and your meats and things going to waste. So you know that you have that plan. And of course you have flexibility. Maybe you're too tired to cook one day, or you're sick or whatever and you don't feel like cooking. But it's good to have that guideline and to get into a habit of doing that, so you can use the things in your refrigerator as opposed to wasting money on stuff that's just gonna sit there and go bad. The next thing is eat before you go to the grocery store. Eat before you go to the grocery store. Do not go to the grocery store starving, because then you're more likely to travel down all the aisles and get all these things that you don't need, or get a ton of stuff that you don't need. It's just gonna make you impatient. So you're gonna wanna hurry up and grab quick things that have high calories in them. Be patient with yourself. Eat something before you go. You don't necessarily have to wait until after you eat dinner. I'm not really in the mood to go anywhere after I eat dinner, but at least eat something. Have a meal replacement shake. Have a cereal bar. Have some eat something to get your stomach, you know, your belly focused, so you can go to the grocery store and not be tempted to buy a whole bunch of stuff or unnecessary things that you'll be tempted to binge eat, or eat before you go to the grocery store, because sometimes after you leave the grocery store, you're like, I'm passing this fast food restaurant before I get home and I'm starving and now I don't feel like cooking. So it'll cut down on the temptation to do that. So always eat a snack, not just water. Water shoots through my system. So eat a nice snack, some grapes, something. Make yourself a sandwich. Eat it on the way there if you're not patient enough to slow down. But do not go to the grocery store on an empty stomach. Another thing that helps me stay focused at the grocery store is making a grocery list. So not only do I make sure I eat before I go grocery shopping, but I make a list. Discipline yourself to just focus on that list. My weakness is Target. I know if I go to Target, I'm gonna be walking down all the aisles, getting a bunch of unnecessary things because it's Target. So you might have to go to just a simple grocery store so you can focus on just getting the things you need on your list. If you can afford it, have your groceries delivered. So that way you can avoid the grocery store altogether. You don't have to worry about eating and waiting in the line and doing all this extra stuff. So if you can afford it, spend the extra couple dollars and get your groceries delivered. So that way it kind of puts things into perspective, because you can go to your cart and see a running total of everything so far, and you know how much the service fee is. You know how much the tip is, so you are more likely to stick to your budget because everything's right there in front of your face. It's not necessarily waiting till you get to the cash register and just mindlessly throwing things into your cart. So if you can't afford it, spend the extra couple dollars, however much it is, and buy your groceries online and have them delivered. I like using Instacart. Sometimes they have some really good deals going on where you can get a certain amount off if you spend a certain amount of money. My favorite is actually using Amazon Fresh. And I can just go through with my list and just search and type in everything I need, put it in my cart, buy it, and I can avoid the grocery store altogether. That's another way to keep yourself out of trouble from buying unnecessary things, because you're having to type in the specific item that you're looking for and wait for it to populate on the screen, and that'll help you want to hurry up and just get it done. So you'll be far less likely to just get a bunch of crap that you don't need. So if you can afford it, buy your groceries online and have them delivered. The next tip is keep as many people out of your business as you possibly can. You don't need to tell your coworkers. As a matter of fact, just don't tell your coworkers. I don't care how close you guys are. You don't have to tell everybody in your family. You don't even have to tell your best friend. This could just be something that you do. And the reason why I say this is, God forbid you have a day where you slip up on your diet and you binge eat, or you go to that fast food restaurant and you lose control. You don't need your coworkers, you know, giving you that side eye and, you know, snapping their teeth and judging you, or all your friends saying, I thought you said you were. Do this in peace, okay? If you have to have support, find one person that you trust and tell them. But you don't need to go alert the media. I mean, I'm doing it because I'm just, wow. Why am I telling everyone? I'm telling everybody because I want to support people and inspire them to take control of their lives. But anyway, you don't have to alert the media that you are on a weight loss journey. And you don't need a bunch of people. Once you tell everybody, you don't need people giving you unsolicited advice. You don't need people telling you that their cousins, best friends, nieces, mailman did it this way and he lost 50 pounds in a month. You want everybody to keep their opinions to themselves so that you're not tempted to do something unhealthy, so that you don't look at somebody else's weight loss results and get discouraged and decide to give up. This is your journey. This is personal to you. This is important to you. You don't need everybody's judgment and everybody's opinions clouding up your judgment and your focus during this time. And you know what else for me that I can't stand? When people are like, oh, well, you're fine the way you are. You don't need to lose any weight. That's right. You don't need to do anything, but it's important to you. This is your journey. It's important to you. So try to limit the amount of people. Of course, if you have a significant other, you might tell them, but limit the amount of people that you tell so everybody can keep their opinions to yourself and you can stay focused and continue doing what's best for you. Now, when you do get to a point in your weight loss journey that it is noticeable that you're losing weight and now people are starting to comment, then people are going to start with the unsolicited advice and you don't have to do that. And if you make a mistake, well, I thought you were doing so good. Just say, you know what, if they comment on how you don't really have to lose weight and you're fine just the way you are, just say, you know what, it's really important to me that I do this. Change the subject. If they give you the unsolicited advice, just, take it with a grain of salt. Get rid of it. Don't worry about it. Just let it go through one ear and out the other. If when they start to notice your weight loss and you have a bad day and you slip up and you have fast food for lunch and they're like, oh, well, I thought you were, just say, you know what, I'm human. Some days I have bad days. It's okay. Change the subject. So that's the best way to handle when people start to notice it and then they say all those things that you were trying to avoid by not telling them. The next thing is keep a snack with you at all times. Something that doesn't have to be refrigerated, something that doesn't need a can opener, something that you can just pop open, peel open, and eat in your car, or that you can leave in your car, something like nuts or something, but always have a snack on you. So at those times when you're hangry, you have a snack and you are less likely to fall into the trap of all the fast food places around you. So always keep a snack on you when you are out and about. Always keep a snack on you at all times. The next tip is to pay attention to when you are the most vulnerable. The times when you are more likely to give in and just throw caution to the wind and stop and get something at a fast food place or binge or overeat. Pay attention to when those times are to you. That first month of your weight loss journey, the first few weeks, that's when you want to keep a journal of how you're feeling, what you're eating. You want to really get in tune with yourself and pay attention to your moods. For me, my most vulnerable times are right when I get off work. I am tired, I'm frustrated, I'm just ready to get home. I have so much to do being a single mom and I just want to make life easy for me. So why not just stop and get something, right? So that's also why I keep a snack with me at all times. So I always have something that I can munch on my way home from work. But with that being said, with me being aware that my most vulnerable times are after work, I make sure I have a bottle of water with me so I can stay hydrated, and I have that snack with me. I know that I'm really not hungry. It's just the stress of the day, and I just need a quick snack, a cereal bar, some nuts, some fruit, and some water or some juice or whatever that is not soda, because you guys know from the past ones, I'm not drinking soda right now. But something to just kind of tide me over until I can get home and cook dinner. So pay attention to when you're the most hungry. For some people, that might be right when they wake up and they need to have a big meal. For some people, it's during the middle of the day when they're in the midst of the chaos of the day and they just want a little, serotonin or something, so they get this big meal. But for me, it's after dinner. So find when you are most vulnerable to quit your diet, to binge eat, to make unhealthy choices, and prepare for that by having a snack on hand, something healthy, and staying hydrated. I hope part 3 of the tips and things that I have learned so far on my weight loss journey, I hope they are helpful, and I will see you guys in the next video. Comment below with things that have worked for you. Maybe there's something I forgot, and I will see you guys in the next video. You guys have a great day.